So we're going to need a chair for this practice, a couple of foam pads and a belt. So if you haven't got your equipment ready, get some stuff together. If you don't have foam pads, don't worry about it. We can use blankets or cushions. If you don't have a belt, then get yourself a dressing gown cord or something like that. Alright, so we're going to come first of all into a Bharavajasana twist. Now if this is a difficult action for you because of knee problems, then you can do the twist onto the seat of the chair, which we'll show in the inset. Otherwise, we're going to come from this Vrajasana action and take the legs out to the side. So you're going to take your legs out to the left first of all. So the right foot sits underneath the left foot and you sit down. But this for most of us creates a bit of a tipping action. So we're going to put a couple of foam pads, or if you don't have foam pads, you can place folded blankets, towels or cushions, and then we're going to turn. Now it's best to have something behind you, but you could do this with your hand onto the seat of a sofa, hand onto the wall, hand onto a couple of foam pads, and we're getting this Bharavajasana twisting action like this. Okay, so let's do that together. Have your foam pads by the side of you. Start in Dandasana with the legs straight out in front and swing your legs to the left. So your right foot is horizontal, the left foot sits on top of the right foot. And then you can put one or two foam pads underneath your right sitting bone to just level you out. Now, if there's any discomfort in the knees, do the action on the chair, the alternative on the chair. If you have a wall behind you, you can take your hand to the wall. If you have the seat of a chair, you can take your hand to the seat of a chair. Make sure that your thighs come out straight from your pelvis and that you're anchoring down with your left groin. So the left groin is stabilizing you. Stretch up with your left hand, extend into your fingertips, rotate this upper arm inwards. Take your right hand onto your brick or onto your chair seat. Take the left hand to the outside of your right thigh and use the two actions. Backhand to give you a little bit of extra rotational action. Front hand, that's your left hand, onto the outside of your right thigh to give you the traction on the front of the body. Alright, and releasing. I'm going to stretch the legs out in Dandasana now. So move your foam pads out of the way, extend the legs forwards, swing the legs now to the right. So I'm mirroring you here. And place these foam pads underneath the left sitting bone so that you're leveling things out. So again, get these thigh bones straight, get this anchoring down action with your sitting bone on your right side. Get the evenness throughout the side waists, and then have your brick or whatever you're using behind. Extend up with your right arm, stretch into the fingertips, extend, extend, extend. Inhale, exhale, and then turn. So we're taking the back hand onto some support so that we can get the rotational action in the spinal column. Keep anchoring down with this right groin. Don't bring that with you when you turn. Okay, well done, and releasing. So we're going to stand up. Now we're going to come into this way of working in Parsvottanasana. We have done this before, and I'm going to use the back of a chair. However, you may not have the back of a chair to use, and it might be that you can do this to the back of a sofa, to a tabletop. So I'll just show how we're going to work here. The left foot turns out, right foot steps forwards, we level the pelvis, hinge forwards, and take the hands onto whatever you're using. So it might be that it's a mantelpiece or a window ledge, something like that, so that you can just start to get this opening in the upper back. You can possibly see that I'm just moving that upper back in. Okay, so hopefully you've got yourself sorted with an appropriate support. Hands on the hips, stand towards the back of your mat, turn your left foot out slightly and step forwards with your right foot. Now, when we do that, the pelvis will tend to swing to the left. So we've got to redirect it back towards the front. This left femur head should be in line with the right femur head. So this is what tends to happen, and we have to swing those back to the center so that these outer femur heads are in line with one another. So from there, you're going to hinge at the hips and take your hands to the back bar of a chair. Now, it may well be that you need to adjust either the support that you're coming to or your body in order to straighten the arms and get this nice length and extension through the spinal column. So adjust if you need to, maybe move yourself back, maybe move your support back. Now extend the breastbone, draw your shoulder blades down towards your back waist, and just see, can you move your armpits a little closer to the floor? Draw up the front leg, kneecap, thigh muscle, breathe. Okay, slowly coming up, step forwards, and we're going to walk back and go to the other side. So right foot turns out, left foot steps forwards. Now, yes, we turn the pelvis, like I said before, but this gluteal crease on the back leg has got to rotate from the inside to the outside. So the back leg spirals. The soft tissue fibre on that back leg spirals up from the inner ankle to the outer shin to inner knee to outer thigh. So it's going up and up and up till it gets to that gluteal crease region. So from here, hinge forwards, keep drawing back on that front leg, kneecap, thigh muscle, keep that rotational action occurring in the back leg, and keep the pelvis level. Extend back into the back leg heel, work those armpits towards the floor. Draw this front leg, the front leg has got to pull up and the thigh bone has got to pull back into the socket. So it's stronger than we think. All right, and slowly stepping forwards and coming up out of the action. So we're going to do the same kind of action in Uttanasana here. So I'm just going to show, we'll take the feet wide, hinge forwards, hands to the back of the chair and extending down. So again, you can use back of the sofa, any support that you were using for the previous action will be fine for this. So line the outer edges of the feet with the outer edges of the mat, push down into those outer foot bones, lift through the front of the body, lift the kneecaps, lift the frontal pelvic bones, hinge forwards. So it's as though the tailbone has got a long weight on it, but this area here, from the back of the knees all the way up the quadriceps and around this gluteal crease area, has got to roll in the opposite direction. So stabilize by hitting down with the tailbone. Tailbone long and heavy. Keep the abdomen lifting towards your spine. Keep the frontal pelvic bones lifting away from your legs. Work the armpits down towards the floor. Don't let the belly drop. Don't let the frontal ribs go. Keep the ears between the arms. Keep the legs lifting really strongly and activate your feet again. Pressing down into the outer edges of the feet. Breathe. Okay, and slowly coming up out of the action. So we're going to take the chair to the wall now. Okay, so we're going to come into Adho Mukha Svanasana, dog head down to the seat of the chair, and then into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, dog head up. So I'm just going to show you, we're going to extend back. Remember that armpit action right at the beginning of the class, and then we're going to walk forward slightly, swing forwards, taking the body through, keeping the toes tucked under, and then coming back into Adho Mukha Svanasana. I'm going to walk my feet back a little bit, and then stepping forwards and coming out. Okay, let's do that together. So have your chair so that it's against a wall. Again, it doesn't have to be a yoga chair, a dining chair, kitchen chair is fine. You may need to take your mat a little bit further out from the wall. You want to have at least the ball of the foot onto your mat. You don't want to have the feet off your mat in case you slide. So you press onto the seat of the chair, lift your frontal pelvic bones up, lift up your kneecaps, thigh muscles, move your abdomen towards your spine. Don't let your ribs drop, don't let your belly drop. Make sure that your feet are even, that you're not letting your heels swing out. It may be that working to the chair like this, you will be able to get your heels to the floor. Maybe not, that's fine, don't worry about it. But having the arms slightly higher does make that more accessible to more people. All right, so we're going to come up onto the toes, start to walk the feet a little bit further forwards, keep the feet hip width apart, and we're going to swing the body through and come into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. So keep the length of the tailbone, lift your thigh muscles, lift your chest, roll your shoulders back and down. And then we're going to come back again into Adho Mukha Svanasana, dog head down. And now walk forwards to come out of the action. Well done. Roll the shoulders back and down. We're going to come now for this action where we're just going to rest the arms onto the thighs. Some of you will be able to come down a little further, and that's fine. Maybe you put your hands onto bricks if you need to. For some people, just resting like this will be sufficient. Let the abdomen move back to the spine. If you can take your hands down to the floor or to bricks, then you can do so, but don't get too hung up on that. We're just opening out the lower back in this action. Okay, and releasing up out of the pose. Chaturanga Dandasana. Now I've got a belt with me, and we're going to use that in a minute. Your belt loop needs to be so that your arms are shoulder width apart when you put the belt loop on above the elbow, but we're not using it to start with. What we are going to use is the wall. And you're going to lie prone to start with. And I want you to tuck your toes right under and have your heels to the wall. You can see that my feet are hip width apart and my hands are down by my chest. So you'll inhale and exhale and lift up the body in one movement. So I'm not lifting very much, as you can see. That's fine, but it might be that you don't lift at all, which is also fine, but you can still get all of the actions without lifting off the floor. Hopefully you can see that. All right, so take the hands back, tuck your toes under, press your heels into the wall, lift your thighs off the floor, drill your tailbone down, draw your shoulder blades towards your back waist, inhale through the nostrils, exhale and lift. Okay, and releasing down. Now just fold your arms in front, rest your head, and you can bend at the knees and just let the toes come towards one another like that. Okay. So we're going to give it another go, because it might have been that you made one of the two classic things that we see in class, which is either coming into it like that, which is incorrect, or like that, lifting the bottom up, which is also incorrect. Alright, so it doesn't matter, remember, that you don't get off the floor. What matters is that you've got this sense of direction. So from the tailbone to the heels is energy going in that direction, and from the base of the spine to the crown of the head, the energy is moving in that other direction. So you've got a two-way action. So extend into the heels, press your heels into the wall, lift your thighs off the floor, move your elbows in, make sure your arms are far enough back. You cannot get this if your hands are by your shoulders. Inhale, exhale, and lift. And releasing. Okay, well done. Just rest down for a moment. So you'll put your belt on. Let me just show you first, and then we can do this together. You put your belt on just above the elbows. You come into dog head down, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now when we come into this action of Chaturanga, you have to lift your chest up and over that belt, and then bend at the elbows to come into your Chaturanga. So that's actually a little bit tight there. Alright, and then you can just rest back onto your heels. So I need that a little bit looser. And it's probably best if you move the buckle quite close to one of your arms, because you don't really want that digging into your chest as you come forwards. And obviously, you know, if you've got a big chest, you've got to move it over that belt. It's a little trickier, but it can work well for some people. So we have to try different methods when poses like this are a bit challenging. A lot of people find this a very difficult pose to do. All right, coming up into Adho Mukha Svanasana to start with. Abdomen towards the spine, frontal pelvic bones lifted, hit out to that belt. If it's becoming loose, you know you need to move your upper arms into it. Now look forwards, pressing down into your hands, start to shift forwards. If it's difficult coming into the full action, keep the arms straight, that's absolutely fine. Let the pelvis start to come down, lift your chest over that belt, up and over, and then bend your elbows straight back, hit your heels back, breathe. Okay, and then just bring the knees to the floor and shifting back. Well done. Okay, hard pose to do, Chaturanga Dandasana. All right, so we're going to come into this variation of the Marichyasana 1 twist. So I'm just going to show you how this is going to work. You're going to bring your left leg up, and then we're going to lean right back. All right, so you can see I'm really leaning back and turning as I go. Okay, so let's give that a go. Start in Dandasana, making sure you're sitting on 2 foam pads or similar height. Pull the flesh of the buttocks out and back. Roll your shoulders back and down. Now lift your left leg up. Bring the heel in, interlock the fingers at the head of the shin, and lift your chest. Then extend up with your left arm. Take your left arm to the inside of your left inner thigh and lean back. Now you can bend the elbow if you need to. I've got some foam pads here. It's fine to work just to the floor. So you're rotating to your right, pressing with that left arm to the left inner thigh, extending into the inner heel of the straight leg. Press down with the foot, the left foot, Okay, coming up and stretching the left leg out. We're going to go to the other side now. So bringing the right leg in, interlock the fingers, spread the toes on that right foot, get the chest lifted. So we want to get this length and extension throughout the spinal column before we start to move it, twist it, do anything to it. So extend up with your right arm. So you can see I'm keeping my shin vertical. Take the right arm, inner arm to the inside of the right thigh, lean back. So as we lean back, we rotate the ribs, turn the chest, breathe. Keep the straight leg strong and active. And releasing out of the action. Well done. So stretch the legs out, roll your shoulders back and down.